Hi, this is Craig Merriweather, host of the Mastermind Show. Today I have on Guy Finley. Guy is the best-selling author of The Intimate Enemy, Winning the War Within Yourself, The Secret of Letting Go, and more than 40 other books and audio programs. If you need a little tough talk to pull yourself out of a rut or a suffering of some type, you will love Guy. In this interview, Guy talks about the process and art of letting go of grief, anxiety, fear, pain, and depression. His encouraging and accessible message is one of the true bright lights in our world today. His ideas cut straight to the heart of our most pressing personal issues about relationships, fear, addiction, stress, anxiety, peace, happiness, and freedom. So here's my interview with Guy Finley. So Guy, welcome to the show. I so appreciate you being on it.
Thank you, Craig. I'm glad to be able to spend the time with you.
Yeah. Well, so many of us, we get stuck in fear. We get stuck in anger, hurt, pain. We're afraid to move forward, even though that is what will be the best thing for us. What keeps us stuck doing the same things that keep us stuck, that spinning our wheels, that keep us stuck in this pain and in hurt? And how can we get over this?
Well, the answer to the question is a little bit like what happens when you go to a doctor and he says, look, there's this problem, there's medicine for it, but it's bitter. You won't like it. Do you want the medicine or do you want to go on with the pain? Because in the long run, Craig, the reason that so much of this unhappiness goes on as it does in our life is because there is a part of us that can't live without it, that doesn't know who it is or what it would do or what would happen to it if it didn't have that familiar tug at the heart, that rending of the mind. And so the course for those individuals who would make real changes in their life, meaning that they would begin to let go of what lashes at them on a daily basis, begins with gathering real self-knowledge, not with struggling to end a condition as perceived as being up outside of them, but rather with the understanding, and the only one that makes sense, that the pervasive pain of my condition is because something in my consciousness allows it. Once we get onto that page and begin reading from this book of true self-knowledge, then we have a chance to make real alterations that end these heartaches in our life.
Well, why would I, my conscious goal is to be happy, to have tons of well-being, to enjoy myself. Why would I allow myself to continue in the pain and the hurt?
Well, that's the point. We don't know we do it. No one. Look, this is, in one respect, an elementary idea, but its importance can't be overlooked. Would any man or woman who knew they were about to hurt themselves do it?
Well,
no one.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's right. It's ludicrous. No one would consciously hurt himself or herself. And yet we hurt ourselves every day in 1,000 different ways, but in particular, because it's our topic, feeling sorry for ourselves, feeling inadequate, regretting the past, feeling fearful or discouraged about the future. If we want to actually change our relationship with life, we have to change the part of us that relates to it the way it does. Here's an example, Craig, so we can all get on the same page. All right?
Yeah.
Would you go, Craig, listeners, would you go to an art store, place where they sell paintings, and upon arriving there, look all over the walls until you at last see some painting there that when you look at it, it produces in you some immediate negative reaction. Maybe it causes you pain, heartache, some kind of grief. And then, upon seeing that, buy that painting and take it home and put it on your bedroom wall so that every morning when you get up, the first thing you can do is relive that unwanted feeling you had in the art store. Does that make any sense at all?
It makes absolutely no sense, and yet we spend some of us spend our time. We go on Facebook, we go on Twitter, and we rag on each other, and we say this is stupid and that is awful, and I hate this and I hate that, and what's the point of making these rude and awful comments and getting together with friends, family, and complaining about this and talking about the news and here's what the president's doing and here's what I don't like. We bought the painting, basically.
In a manner of speaking, yes, but we must make it more intimate still if we hope to actually have an inroad into this possibility of changing our nature. When I look at my past, let's say, and most of us would agree, when we feel sorry for ourselves, it isn't because we're looking ahead, it's because we're looking back at our life and where, my brother got a break, I didn't. The government is unfair, and this is why I'm in this condition. I had that health issue. My loved one turned on me, betrayed me. I'll never find love again. Fill in the blanks, listeners. And we can see in that moment that if we're feeling sorry for ourselves, by and large, it's because we are looking at our past. Are we in agreement about that, Craig?
Yes.
You have to be the advocate for the listeners.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. We're thinking been past.
All right. Now, Craig, what am I actually looking at when I am looking at my past? Am I looking at a series of events that went this way or that way and never really happened as I wanted them to? Or am I looking into a mirror in my own mind where an image that is sort of a collective experience, a sort of condensed set of emotions and thoughts, so that looking at this image that represents my past, I am at once filled with regret because the image is filled with the experience of that past. So that in the moment when I'm feeling sorry for myself, it's because, unbeknownst to myself, something in me has picked up one of these pictures, an image that was painted over time, that every time I pull it up, more accurately, every time it is brought up and my attention goes to it, now we have the real example of what happens when a person goes to an art store. Because were it not for me selecting that picture, giving my attention to it, and deriving a familiar sense of self from its review, there would be no me suffering over my past, because I would never conspire to act against myself by reliving something that does nothing but make me a captive of something that can't be changed because it's a picture. It's not even real.
Well, it's not real, and yet when I go to a museum or I go to a gallery and I'm walking through, I'm looking at paintings, and there's 100 paintings in there. Let's say I'll look at 99 paintings, and it's just like, yeah, that's nice, okay. But then there'll be this one that's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I somehow identify with that painting. It might not be, and going back to your, it might not be real, but it speaks to me.
Look, no, Craig. When you look at a new painting or one that you love, when you listen to music and it moves you, you do it because in that moment, your relationship with the painting, the image, or the music, the rhythm, is a positive, self-instructive relationship. We're not talking about looking out. I live in the forest here in Southern Oregon. I'm looking out my door and there's 2 deer there. I can't see that enough. I love it. But when our own mind pulls up a picture from the past so that the experience that's derived from that relationship is a reiteration of something that is wrecking me, there's nothing positive, good, or endearing about such a destructive, self-compromising act. But the issue is we don't know that we're doing it because the feeling is so real. And when the feeling is real, even though the feeling is real, the why is a lie. I'm not looking at what's real. I'm looking at what my mind made of an experience or a set of experiences over a period of time. I was rejected throughout my childhood. Nobody wanted to run with me because I wasn't cool. My husband dropped me for somebody else. I never got a job, or I got laid off and couldn't find work again. I don't care what it is that a person feels sorry for or about themselves. They couldn't feel that kind of painful self-pity if there wasn't a part of them asking them to relive something within which there is no value. You make yourself a victim when you relive the past. It's that simple. And if the truth is that there is something in me reliving the past by pulling up these pictures of myself, I have to ask myself, what in God's name is within me that wants to continue having that sensation of suffering every time it begins to think about itself again?
Well, they must be getting some sort of, feelings of maybe attention. If they keep going back to the self-pity and the shame, they feel that's the only way they can get love and attention.
Well, so you ask me, what does a person do?
Yes.
If I see that that's the truth, that when I look back on some unwanted moment in my life and I'm filled with anger, regret, resentment, some kind of self-pity, when I look back at that, is that who I want to be? Is that what I want to continue as the source of myself? Because if it is, you got it. But if it isn't, now you have a valuable clue. Because you can see at once that this whole mind game, the way this self operates, is that it's covert. It hides from me the fact that first it brings up something that it doesn't like. And all of us can agree, when we look at something painful from our past, we are filled with resistance to it. Yes or no, Craig?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Listen, write this down, listeners. It may save your life, and I'm not being grandiose. It may save your life. In fact, let's do it together. Craig.
Yes.
You and I are going to do this. Listeners, do this with me. Put the phone in your, if you're holding a phone, put it in your shoulder, put it on speaker. If not, do this afterwards. My right hand is going to represent my wishes and aspirations, all the hopes that I have and have had in life. That's my right hand. My left hand is going to represent everything that I don't want. The way that man treated me, the way I was disrespected, what life seems to say no to me about. And now here comes my right hand, and here comes my left hand. My right hand being all that I want to affirm, and my left hand serving as the instrument of resistance, of denial of what I don't want. So what happens, Craig, when what I don't want runs into what I do want? When my left hand collides with what my right hand. Now my left hand begins to push against my right hand, and my right hand begins to try to push away my left hand. What I want tries to get rid of what I don't want. I don't want this feeling anymore of being a loser. I don't want to relive that event. I don't want to have that resentment again with that man or person who punished me. So now my right hand is pushing against my left hand. is the energy between the hands growing less or more?
Oh, they're stuck in the middle. They're not moving anywhere.
Is the pressure increasing or decreasing?
It's increasing.
Which means that the more I resist what I don't want, the greater the pain of that resistance grows. And more importantly, that resisting my past, resisting what I think I am, actually serves to strengthen the pain produced by identifying with it. So that resistance isn't just negative attraction, it is actually an identification with the thing not wanted. If we can even begin to see this, and those of you that are Christian out there, Scripture says, resist not evil, Christ said. The original Aramaic, meaning the language that was originally written in, before it was translated into the King James Version, through the Greek, resist not evil translates this way: do not oppose what opposes you. Which means that if I sit and resist my past, which really isn't my past, but the pain that is associated with reliving it, I am resisting that evil and I am opposing what opposes me. And every time I oppose what opposes me, it strengthens two things at once. First, it strengthens the pain. So I push harder, which is a negative downward cycle. But more importantly, me resisting that moment makes it feel as if the me that's pushing against my own past is somehow separate from the past it pushes against. As if I'm different than my own past. When the fact of the matter is, the only way one ever changes their past isn't by not wanting it. It's by seeing that the only power it has over us is that we don't want it. Consider it. The only power something has over me that I don't want is the extent to which I resist it and validate both that power, in quotes, and my sense of being victimized by it. Can you see some of this, Craig?
Yeah, absolutely. But it for some of us, maybe even most of us, this is all we know to do, is to resist the things that we don't want and the pain and the hurt, even though it's causing this pile up and this stuckness and this lack of moving forward. But we don't know any other way.
Well, see, that's the point. Now you know. I have proven to you, if you're willing to see it, that it doesn't work. That to resist unwanted moments in life, including your own past, is an act of sheer futility that provides a powerful sense of self that is equally impotent in changing anything about the past. The only thing we are left to do, if we see the truth of what we're saying, is to let go of ourself. Die to ourself. So that in the gradual release of this resistance, because it is seen as being impossible, I am introduced in that moment to new possibilities that I could have never known before, because all I was immersed in was the pressure and pain of trying to escape my past by resisting it. Do you think, Craig, listeners, do you think that how many options, Craig, does self-pity provide you with?
Oh, it makes you the victim. That's the only thing it creates for you.
Right. It's got actually two.
Oh, two.
One, I'm a miserable, unlovable person who never succeeded and who never will. And then from time to time, a series of plans, powers that we're going to pursue in order to escape the pain of our own misery. Those plans and the powers they promise are produced by the self that is a captive of resistance. That's why none of those plans ever work. In fact, all they ever do, even if they provide a momentary sense of relief from my misery, all they do is actually strengthen that sense of self that believes all it ever will be is this misery. If you were in a dream, which is what we are in when we're feeling sorry for ourselves, a dark nightmare, do I need powers? Can I give myself any power in a dream that's going to change the nature of the dreamer itself? Or is what I need in that moment is to awaken from the dream? Then I don't need powers, because now I've stopped agreeing to be powerless in the grip of a bad dream.
Now I want to take a moment to let everybody know about a couple things Guy has for you today. The first thing is an audio program. It's a 6-hour MP3 download called The Illusion of Limitation. It's an amazing program. Discover the powerful and practical secrets for awakening and realizing your ultimate potential as a human being. Learn to act boldly and decisively, be more productive, shed negative thoughts and feelings, and live in the deep, abiding peace of a quiet mind. Now, this is a real product. You can go to Guy's website. You'll see that it's on sale for $29.95. He's, in his generosity, he's giving this to you for free. If you go to mastermindshow.com/Guy, G-U-Y, you'll find the link to be able to get that package. There's also something else that's also an incredible and amazing package that he's put together just for us, and it's called the Being Fearless and Free package. And I want Guy to explain what it is and how it's going to work.
The actual special package that we put together for your people was based on a CD that is really made for what we're talking about. It comes with 2 extra bonuses. The main product is Being Fearless and Free. When we feel these limitations, including the fear that's a part of them, it's because we are in the hands of an illusion. So it doesn't matter what you do against an illusion. In fact, everything we do against any form of an illusion only validates the fear we feel about it, like a child. Is there anything a child can do in a bedroom at night when a car drives by and throws that scary shadow on the wall? Can that child do anything towards that shadow that will lessen its fear other than one thing, which is to turn on the light, to see that the substance of the shadow doesn't exist, but that the substance it fears is provided for the child by a mind that doesn't understand it's an illusion. When we begin as aspirants of a higher life, of a life free of fear, self-pity, anger, anxiety, we begin gradually to recognize that everything about this life is intended to help us grow. If we have any feeling at all that something good has created us, that there is a God, a divinity, a Christ, call it what you will, then that smallest bit of ourselves that still understands, because of the brightness that is indwelling, that we're here to grow and become more loving, more compassionate, fearless people, then we can realize that life, when it seems to bring these limitations, is really bringing an invitation, Craig. An invitation to realize the truth of ourselves. That, sure, we had these bad experiences. My God, We are raised on a planet that has basically gone nuts, and everybody that we know is in pain. Period. I don't care how they appear. I don't care how much they throw around whatever it is that allows them to seem to substantiate themselves. Human beings are in pain because they don't know who they are. And when you're in pain, and when there's fear, there's desperation. And when you have that kind of desperation, you have all kinds of unkind acts. People are mean because they're in pain, and we've all had these experiences. Believe me, I'm not just spouting a motivational set of words here. My own life has been filled with incredible hardship. But I've recognized, as I'm inviting everyone to do, that who we have been is not the sum of our possibilities. But if we let who we have been tell us who we can be, we're done. So that every moment of our life can serve as it's intended to, as a revelation. And in that revelation, to realize that, all right, you know what? I'm sitting here, I'm starting to go down into that depression. God, here it is again. But what is my mind looking at? What is it fondling? Whose mind is it? You see, it's my mind. My mind doesn't belong to the past. My sense of self isn't a product of a series of painful experiences, no matter how sequential they were. My life is a living relationship with this present moment, with presence itself. And real life, real presence, is perfectly changing all the time in order to further perfect itself. The present moment doesn't hold our feet to a fire. It lights a fire within us by which we can see that there's something inside of us that wants to put our feet in the fire so we can feel the burning. So when we talk about the possibility of ending depression, ending self-pity, getting rid of those parts of ourselves that want to relive how we were abused by a family member or by a spouse or by a corporation or by our government, all we're talking about is recognizing that if there weren't something in us reliving that moment, we wouldn't be reliving the misery. And yes, it takes a kind of courage to let go of that familiarity. But when we see that no liberation exists in any pattern of thought that is reproducing the past, regardless of what it promises, then we stand at that threshold where it truly becomes possible for us to let go of ourselves and invite in that very same moment a complete host of new possibilities that we could have never seen before because we were too busy looking at what we didn't want. That's what this package that my foundation has put together brings to the listener. Well, there's 16 one-hour CDs or MP3s, depending on whether you get the physical package or you get the MP3s. And with that physical package, you get a copy of an Amazon #1 book that I wrote called The Courage to Be Free. If you get the downloadable package, you get that book as an ebook. And you also get a DVD about how you can begin to consciously persist with walking away from whatever it is that continues to drag you down. So you get 16 CDs, and you can listen to them in any order. They're like different angles into the same mind and the way in which it is presently operating to produce this unnecessary pain. So you get these items all together, and I'll let you give whatever other details you want. But I know that my foundation, which is a nonprofit organization, has greatly reduced this package so that everyone can afford it one way or the other. Yeah, and it is guaranteed.
It's an incredible deal, and I'll just let everybody go to the website and check it out for yourselves, because it's Being Fearless and Free, 16 CDs or the MP3 audio downloads, the book, The Courage to Be Free, and which are be an ebook if you download it, and then the DVD, Harness the Secret Power of Conscious Persistence. Love that word, persistence. And if you go to depression180.com/Guy, Guy, you'll get the links and see, so you can get the details of that. You can also get more information about Guy at his website, guyfinley.org, guyfinley.org. Find him on Facebook, find him on Twitter. This is such amazing information, and it goes right to the heart of the matter, instead of trying to mask the pain with whether antidepressants or self-medicating with alcohol or too much TV or what have you. One of the things I've heard you say, and we're kind of running up against the clock, but one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I thought this was really powerful to me when I heard you say it. You say, we have excuses and justifications about why our life is the way it is. And you say that is the bitter fruit of a half-action life. And I wonder if you could explain what you mean by half-action life.
It means that it doesn't address the real problem. A half-action produces a half-result, which is why we don't free ourselves from this pain, but rather produce a condition within ourselves in which not only does the nature that is embracing and recreating this pain go on, but it attracts to itself conditions that just continue to validate this illusion, this misperception. Listen, everybody, to me. When we meet any moment, could we fear it? Could we feel sorry for ourselves over something we see as coming that we're inadequate to, or that looking back at our past makes us feel less than human? Could we feel any of those negative emotions without being given, unconsciously, a conclusion on the part of our own consciousness that this moment that we're looking at, that we're about to meet, is greater than we are? Could we feel inadequate, fearful, sorry for ourselves if something weren't telling us, oh my God, look at this thing is bigger than your ability to deal with it, therefore get angry, get frustrated, feel sorry for yourself? Craig, could we feel any of those negative states produced by resistance without a conclusion on the part of our own mind that this thing is bigger than I am inadequate to meet it?
Oh no, that keeps us beat down.
Now, everybody, I'm telling you, but you must discover this for yourself. There is no such thing in life as a moment greater than your ability to be changed by it. There's no moment in life superior to an order of your own self that can use that moment to transcend who you have been. Any pattern that is produced by a mind resisting some event or some thought about itself strengthens the pattern and the power that pattern holds over you. Stop agreeing to build a bigger prison. See, as best you can, that you are not here in this life to prove to yourself that somehow or other you are more powerful than this, that, or the other. the reason we feel sorry for ourselves, the reason we get depressed, is because in the moment where we thought we had a power that would allow us to deal with something, suddenly we don't have it. You're not here to prove yourself. You're here to discover yourself. And the self you're here to discover is an order of your own being that is always provided in the moment it needs it, with the power of light, with the power of understanding, that you can no more be made a captive of some unwanted condition than you can take a bottle and go put sunlight in it and put it in the garage. You can't be a captive of anything other than misunderstanding who you are and what your true spiritual capabilities are.
I love that, misunderstanding who you are, and that is so true for so many of us. We've been stuck for so long that we buy into the fiction of that we're limited in who we are.
The illusion. That's right. This illusion that somehow or other, what I am being told. And let's be clear about that. The feel is real, but the why is a lie. It's a poem. Write it down. The feel is real. Of course I feel depressed. Why? Because my mind is giving me and showing me all the reasons why that's what I have to be. But how, Craig, listeners, would you hang out with a friend who at every opportunity brought up a scrapbook of every defeat you've ever had right in the midst of a moment of challenge and says, hey, Craig, no point in trying, man. Look at yourself. How long would you live with someone like that, Craig?
Oh, well, if I hated myself and thought I might make them my roommate for life, but that's not a way to be.
Clearly, none of us would embrace any human being who did only one thing, which was to denigrate us in the moment, and then in the darkness of that, condemn us to relive who and what we've been. It's all about awakening. Again, Christ said what he called this rebirth, metanoia. He said one must have a new mind, but a new mind must have new knowledge before we can begin to change the way we perceive things. We see life, everyone, through our understanding of it. It is our understanding that meets life. When we don't understand ourselves, naturally we can't understand life, and the false understanding we do have then gives us a false impression of what life is doing. All we can do at that point is resist a conclusion that is an illusion. To gain new knowledge, we must act knowledge. It isn't enough to have new ideas. We acknowledge the truth of what we're speaking together here about. But now we must take this new knowledge and act on it. Because as we will act, we will find we're never stuck. Because every time I take a new action based on a new understanding, there is a new revelation about myself. Every new revelation is the same as the end of an old continuation. Part of me dies, part of me is awakened and lives. Each time I am awakened and have a new revelation, no matter how small it may be, I am suddenly integrated. What I didn't know about myself now no longer governs me. Now I am governed because by this light, because I see myself as I am. Every bit of light changes us. Every intention produces revelation. Our intention has to be to act on this new knowledge in order to realize a new order of our being that can never be troubled by depression, by self-pity, or fear.
That is beautiful stuff, Guy. I so appreciate you taking your time to talk to us today. Everybody, you need to go to guyfinley.org. If this is resonating with you at all, look him up. See if he's coming anywhere near where you live. There's tons of ways to hear more of his wisdom. He does a podcast. There are radio shows that he does, and you can find the schedule and the links to those on his website. Of course, live events and the special package that he's offering to us, which is amazing stuff. Being Fearless and Free, 16 CDs or MP3 audio downloads, the Courage to Be Free book, and the DVD Harness the Secret Power of Conscious Persistence. Go check that out at depression180.com/Guy. You also see links to Facebook and Twitter and all the other ways to contact him. Guy, thank you so much. It's so important what you're saying, and I hope this has really opened up a lot of hearts with people. I truly think that's what's happening today, so I appreciate your time.
We have the same wish, Craig, and I appreciate the opportunity to share these ideas with everyone. And I do urge everyone, if nothing else, visit the .org, F-I-N-L-E-Y, Guy Finley. There's tons of free material there. But if you can afford it, get the package, absorb it, act from it, and you will see your life change.
Guy, thank you so much.
Be well, Craig.